It went beyond madness. No sane heroine ever dared to enter the realm of Neiku Nuwang, the self-proclaimed goddess of all wedgies. Those who had been dragged there would forever have nightmares of that strange place. Of endless walls, decorated with rows of shredded underwear. Of great, hulking monsters whose only instinct was to pull, tug, and stretch any pair of childish panties within reach. But then again, someone's hell is another person's heaven. There was one heroine who dared to enter the lair of the dreaded Neiku, to face a battle she was eager to lose, while others, like Wonder Woman, shivered and clung to their rears remembering Neiku. This heroine grinned and gave light tugs to her undies, wishing she could return to that strange place, to dance with the odd spirit once more. The name of this mad woman was Crystal, but she had another, known far and wide, Lady Gemstone, protector of Silver Hills. And I'm here to face Neiku again! She shouted, standing before the closed gates of the spirit's fortress. Though not the best-known heroine of them all, Lady Gemstone still had an impressive appearance. She was a tall young woman, of short silver hair and azure blue eyes, well-built, but not lacking in curves. Her suit mixed both of white and blue, the former for a top and the boots, the latter for a long cape, gloves, mask, and the pants, which clung so tightly to both of her toned legs and perky bubble butt. Seeing how her challenge went unanswered, Lady Gemstone turned around and smacked her rear twice, shaking it before the gates to taunt and catch the spirit's attention. There were clear panty lines under the blue fabric of her tight pants and a slim white line peeking out of them too. Crystal had even added a tag to it, one which included neither of her names, but instead a simple message: Tug. "I cannot make this any easier for you," she grumbled, crossing her arms in annoyance. "Are you the spirit of wedgies or just a tease?" Finally, the door swung back and a figure emerged from the palace. Its shape was that of a woman, much taller than Crystal, but not made of flesh and bone. Streams of cotton of every color and decorated with hundreds of different prints, wrapped together to form arms and legs, tightening more or less to create a figure's torso and curves. Only its head was different from what would be expected of a human body. Just a shredded pair of pink panties with 3 holes, 2 for the eyes and a slender long one for the creature's semi-eternal grin. "Apologies, my dear. It's just that I'm not used to visitors. Willing ones, at least." Her voice was like the sound of 100 pairs of panties being yanked at the same time. Already, Lady Gemstone could feel her own undies slipping into her crack, giving her a nasty natural she welcomed with open arms. One snap of those cotton fingers and she'll give me a gift wrap. A chuckle, and she'll give me a bouncing of a lifetime, thought Crystal, biting her lower lip. "There's the first time for everything," said Lady Gemstone. "Also, I hope I'm not interrupting anything important." "I was watching a certain avatar and her girlfriend get wrapped together by their adorable panties." Neku's smile was a frozen scar, as emotionless as her strange tone. "It was fun, but maybe you can give me something even more entertaining than that." "Maybe?" Lady Gemstone crossed her arms and pouted. "Don't you remember our last time? It was a blast!" "Not the kind of review I usually get." Neiku floated around the heroine, her empty eyes never leaving the Gemstone's panty lines. "It is like tasting a new flavor. One so odd I don't know whether I like it or not." "I see I have your attention," said Lady Gemstone. "Can I get your wedgies too?" "Soon. Since you're so different from the rest, I cannot use the same tactics I employed with Wonder Woman or Hinna, or the other of the so-called heroines who wear childish underwear and beg for their mommies after just a little gift wrap." "Whatever you come up with, I promise I can take it." "We will see about that." This time, the voice came from Crystal's back. When she turned, she was greeted by not one, but 2 grinning Nekus, identical in shape but made of different colorful pairs of panties. Another spin, she found 3 more, then 4, all staring at the same area. "If you think you're so ready, I guess I can give you a proper taste of what I do to my favorite victims. A top 9, if you will." Why not top 10? "Because this is my universe, and I make the rules," said Neiku, again, without any sign of being either amused or annoyed. "First, my dear She-Hulk, Let me show you how I greet her whenever I pay her a visit. All Nekus lifted their cotton fingers, pointing at the unnatural skies above. The same heartbeat, a torrent of white cotton was rocketed out of the heroine's pants, stretching past her shoulders and head in less than a blink of an eye. Crystal opened her mouth to gasp, but squealed instead as another torrent exploded out the front of her pants, launching the white-haired beauty off the ground. Eyes crossed, tongue out, Crystal moaned as the two Nekus directed her growing underwear, taking turns to tug either the front or the back of her still-growing granny panties. Stretchy and durable, just like I like them. All the Nekus chuckled. How are you holding up? Crystal needed a few moments to remember how to swallow, then managed a trembling thumbs up. Good. One of these is often enough to catch She-Hulk's attention and keep her busy while I carry her to the Statue of Liberty. Neku closed her fists and the tug ceased. Do you want to know what I do to Urza? Who? Moaned Crystal. Another lovely heroine with the cutest granny panties you can imagine. What can I say? I do have a type. Crystal's granny panties came to life once again, only now they flew left and right, earning fresh squeals and moans from the heroine. Then, the two waistbands began to spin around the heroine, like two angry dogs trying to chase one another. Stretching threads of cotton were wrapped around Crystal's arms and torso, her legs, her waist. Her blue eyes rolled up in pleasure as the waistbands finally met and embraced, right on top of her head, leaving an almost mummified heroine under them, trembling and clenching her fists as she tried to savor every single inch currently drilling its way into her ass. Another great thing about Urza is that she can use her magic to change outfits. That means you never know what treasures you will find under her pants. Or skirts. Crystal squirmed a little, which got a few jiggles out of her rear, one of the few parts of her body not yet wrapped under several layers of fabric. Still want more? Good. Because I want to talk to you about dear Go-Go Tomoko, a speedster. Always a plus when it comes to wedgie girls. Neku snapped her fingers, to Crystal's shock and disappointment. The snakes of cotton squeezing her body let go and slipped back into her pants, leaving her with aching lower regions but little else. She was ready to complain and glare when she realized there was a portal behind her, a tear in reality which a pair of Nekus were about to use while dragging along Lady Gemstone's stretched granny panties. Crystal did not know what happened at the other side of that portal. Maybe the two Nekus tied the waistband of her granny panties to the fastest train ever invented, or maybe they just fell from the highest mountain they could find, dragging along a white stream of cotton which kept growing beyond the limits of reason. Either way, the heroine closed her eyes and squealed, hands on her buttocks, legs bent as cotton fingers were wrapped around her feet, and arms, making sure only her panties streamed into the portal. Already would have been a wide stream, it transformed into a trio of wire-thin threads, the middle one so deep into Crystal's crack, she could almost feel it in the back of her throat. Thus, wedgies are always amusing. How are you holding up? Still think you could do better, panted Lady Gemstone. Oh god, yes! Fine. Let's try with Miss Satusi then. What followed went beyond Crystal's wildest dreams. Neku grew to the size of a giant, the flat fingers of her right claw wrapped around a wooden katana twice as long as Crystal was high. One click portal later, and the heroine's granny panties were wrapped from the tip to handle around the weapon's blade. And still, Neku had plenty of cotton to spare to swing both the blade and heroine in wide arcs, the latter howling and grinning from ear to ear, as she enjoyed a wedgie which might even put the infamous Wedgiesaurus to shame. And that was still the tip of the iceberg. Neku waited until Lady Gemstone was starting to get used to the pressure in her crack, then dissolved the blade. Instead of falling through, the heroine found herself dangling above the ground by a growing spiderweb of cotton, all threads born out of her smoking crack. Raven loves this one, or at least I do, said Neku. It was as if each thread of cotton was connected to Neku's fingers by invisible wires. One twitch and Lady Gemstone was flung to the left, then the right, her moans echoing loud and clear across the halls of Neku's palace. To the spirit's surprise, the heroine still asked for more. As you wish. Do you know Tigress? Lady Gemstone did not, but quickly began to envy her as Neku shrunk to original size and began to wedgie wrestle with the heroine. Thin trails of saliva flowed down the corners of Crystal's grin as the spirit trapped her head between her cotton thighs and delivered the best pile driver she had ever experienced, followed by another wrapping up, where Neiku turned Crystal into a tight cotton ball 6 times in half as many minutes. Do you enjoy the bouncing? It's the one I use with one of my new girls, a cute little bunny called Judy Humps. Cute, short, and wedgieable. I couldn't ask for more. Now here is what I did to Android 18 2 months ago, when she tried to have a fair fight with me. Crystal had a hard time listening to 2 words out of every 7, let alone moan as much as she wanted to. She feared her brain would melt soon, bubbling remains sliding out of her ears as she enjoyed her 11th gift wrap. Surrounded by oceans of cotton, drooling, and pouring waterfalls of grateful tears out of her eyes, she nearly asked Neiku to stop, to give her a moment to recover after hours of mind-blowing fun. She stopped herself before a single word could come out. Crystal squinted to focus her eyes on Neiku, challenged the spirit with the smuggest grin she could manage. Is that it? Maybe this was her exhausted mind playing tricks on her, but Crystal could have sworn she saw a real, almost human-like grin on Neku's underwear face. The spirit held Lady Jinso's chin with 2 fingers and gently tucked it up, to help her meet the holes which made the spirit's eyes. Do you know Hinata? Crystal blinked. Hold on, I actually know that one. Pale, long hair, big butt, and super adorable. Teddy bear granny panties. Neiku moved aside so Crystal could focus her tired eyes on one of the palace's walls. Sure enough, it was covered by the same shredded pair of granny panties Lady Gemstone remembered from her last visit. Only there appeared to be an opening in this row, one between a couple of pairs, one belonging to someone called Charmcaster, and another called Carol Adams. I think it's about time your adorable undies joined those of my favorites. And what better way to do it than to give you the same wedgie I gifted to my dear Hinata during my last visit to her precious village. Crystal opened her mouth, maybe to thank Neiku, or because she knew the answer to a rhetorical question. Whatever it was, words were obliterated by a raw animal shriek as Neiku delivered the last wedgie in her arsenal. White cotton expanded at speeds no human eye could follow, the wrinkled remains of Crystal's waistband soon disappearing in the darkness of a ceiling, which seemed to have no end. Leg holes grew to the sides of buildings, while an odd eternal fire began to burn between the heroine's wobbling moons, the result of a wedgie few mortals have ever experienced, and only one would be eager to remember for years to come. A real nuclear wedgie. Those were the last words which reached Crystal's ears before fainting. Her eyes were still open, one wide, the other twitching every 2 seconds. A happy tongue rolled out of her full grin, a grin which remained there, even when the spirit of wedgies claimed her prize, finally tugging the last inches of squished burnt cotton from between Lady Gemstone's moons. I think I'll need a bigger wall. A low, mindless moan reminded the spirit that she was not alone in the room. While her clones dealt with the gigantic banner of white cotton, Neiku sat next to the heroine and began to pat her head. I will leave you in that wedgie clinic you like to visit so much. It's the least I can do after all the fun we had together. Yes, I'll miss you too, Lady Gemstone. Oh, and next time, make sure to bring a few extra pairs of granny panties. I have a few more ideas I would love to try on you.